Okay, cool. Sorry for all those technical difficulties. And I also, I don't know what kind of audience I'm giving this talk to, so maybe y'all are already like more experienced than me and stuff like that. So this is kind of maybe not for you guys. But essentially, I just wanted to take some time to kind of like share a little bit of my story in hopes that maybe if there's people out there who are kind of like on the fence about, whether they want to get into development or like blockchain stuff, like, maybe this will inspire people just to like jump into the ether. um, and so to start off, a little bit about me. I've been programming since 2016. So actually not an incredibly long amount of time. Majority of that was web development, and then it's only been like the last 2-ish years that I think I've been doing blockchain stuff. I have no college background whatsoever. Never had a day of college. I actually dropped out of high school and, kind of started my software career from there. All I have is a certificate from a coding boot camp because it was a 16-week course that I went to, but I think, oh, it goes into the next point. Yeah, I have 92 courses on Ethereum. They actually label me as a whale, which is really, really funny. But I bring this up because I've actually only completed one of them. And I think that maybe like I fell into this trap of like, oh, if I'm not going to go to college to learn how to program, then like, I've got to pay somebody to give me that knowledge, right? Because that's how college works. And so the reason why I mentioned that I have 92 courses and I've only completed one is because all of my knowledge that I've gained as today has been like self-taught stuff that I've found with like free open source like information that's just out there on the web and stuff. And so I don't think that you have to go to college to program. You don't necessarily have to go to any of these coding boot camps that charge a lot of money. And you don't necessarily have to buy courses online. I mean, whatever works for you is great, but like you can also just kind of like just get involved and start learning how to do this stuff by actually doing it. And that's kind of what I did. And what I've worked on recently, specifically with ChainSafe, is I helped write the Solidity smart contracts for Chainbridge, which is really cool. I don't know if ChainSafe knew this at the time, but that was like the first time my smart contracts were ever actually in production. So that felt really cool. It's also like super duper scary. I worked on a MetaMask like wallet with Frankie actually. She'll be talking later. And now I'm one of the maintainers of Web3.js. And so, yeah, this is kind of like my little timeline. As I mentioned, in 2015, 2016, I had dropped out of high school and just started working at a car wash because I was like, well, now that I don't have to go to school, I should be doing something with my time that's productive. And then I found a coding boot camp and I did that, and that was 16 weeks. And I got my first job at FileStack, which was doing web development stuff. And then I moved on to Freedom Driven, which was more web development stuff. And I think at that point, I was only like 2 years in, so still pretty junior as a web developer. But I was quickly seeing that like, okay, if I stay on this like path, I feel like I'm gonna max out like web development like pretty easily, like pretty quickly, I mean. And so I was just already getting bored with that idea. It's like, okay, what am I gonna be doing for like, 5-10 more years of like programming and stuff, right? And so around December 2017 is, when the last bull market happened for crypto. And so that's when like Bitcoin and stuff popped onto my radar. I think I just saw like a Reddit post about it and I started doing research, and then I realized that there's all these other cryptos and stuff that are out there, and I wanted to know like what made them all different and stuff. And it was just really, really awesome, like learning all this like new stuff, new tech that was coming out that like many people haven't worked with a whole lot. And I actually quite literally signed up. I think it was like 12, maybe 15 different meetups for San Antonio, which is the city I live next to. And I went to everything. And out of all of them, there was only one of those meetups that was actually technical. It was the Alamo City Ethereum, I believe it was called. And when I attended there, I met my friends Joe DeLong and Jay Payne. And together, we would like, after the meetup ended, we'd stay around talking all the technical stuff and talking about how cool Ethereum is and all of this. And that's when my friend Joe at the time, he actually offered me a job that he was working with this blockchain company. And when he approached me with this idea, I was like, wow, I just got my first like cushy like secure web development job working at Freedom Driven. And I was like, am I really going to just like leave this to, take this leap of faith into, blockchain stuff and all that? And quite honestly, it was one of the best decisions of my life and stuff. And it was very, very scary. And I had just kind of wrapped my head around about all this web dev stuff. And now I'm trying to like pile all this blockchain and smart contracts and everything onto it. And so it was extremely daunting. And I didn't think that I was going to be able to do it, because I was thinking, there's all these people with, these fancy degrees, and like they're coming from like, working at Google and Facebook and all that stuff. Like, who am I, just this little like self-taught developer, to like start working on, the future of finance and all that stuff. And my friends, Joe and Jay, they really helped me along. They helped inspire me, pushed me to keep going forward and get out of my comfort zone. And I stuck with it. And I realized that it was something I really, really liked learning about. And I just wanted to know more, because this was just like really cool, fancy tech that like hadn't really existed before. It started getting popular in, 2008, 2015 and stuff. And so after I decided to leave Freedom Driven, and I went to my first blockchain company, which is Ninth Gear. And it was pretty cool getting my feet wet. I did a lot of like private blockchain stuff, so it wasn't as exciting. And then I eventually got a job at ChainSafe, and it's super awesome, because all my code is like open source for like the first time. And so, when I want to show people the code I've worked on or anything like that, I can actually just send a GitHub link, and we can talk about it, and I can engage with the community as a whole and ask questions and all of this stuff. And it's just super duper great. And yeah, just wanted to take a second to say thank you to Joe DeLong and Jay Payne. If y'all watch this, I provided their Twitter handles if you want to read what they have to say. But they're really inspirational, and I wouldn't have met them if I wouldn't have like got out of my own comfort zone and just said like, hey, I'm just going to go out there. I'm going to try my best, and I'm going to work on stuff that seems exciting to me and all that. And I met these guys in the process, and they helped me flourish my career and stuff into what it is today. And so the last thing that I wanted to say is, even if you're already like in the blockchain space and all that, and or if you're thinking about it, or you're just getting started, like one of the things I personally want to like really, really work on is helping more people get involved with the space, or like jumping into the ether. I also want to help people find like the materials and like the resources to like self-teach themselves and all this stuff. And kind of like the first like super impactful way that I want to work on this is with Frankie. We're rewriting Web3.js to be hopefully a bit easier to work with, especially for new developers and stuff. People are just learning how to use JavaScript for the first time. And with that, I want to like completely revamp the docs, and have it be like super like user friendly for people who are just like onboarding to blockchain for the first time, or maybe they just know a little bit of JavaScript. They know that they want to work blockchain, so they're trying to do both at once. I just want to make the docs super helpful for the new guys who are just trying to, get their feet wet, but also make it super accessible for the guys who like, already know what they're doing. They just need a refresher on like what syntax is or something. And another way I want to do this is with maintainable examples. I want to like try to figure out how you can actually write code examples in docs that are like executed as part of your test suite when you're making like your PRs and stuff. So that way that that the maintainable, like the examples that are in the docs are always up to date, because they're part of the test suite and stuff. Because there's lots of tutorials out there, especially even for Web3.js, where the code is just outdated, and so you run the example and it just doesn't work, and that's really frustrating for newcomers and stuff. And I bring all this up because if any of y'all have ideas or stuff that's worked well out in the wild on other projects and all that, I would really, really, really appreciate it if you open up an issue on Web3.js or join the ChainSafe Discord, and there's a Web3 channel, and you just kind of voice your opinion, because I really want to help make Web3.js and like Ethereum development as a whole like super user friendly and make sense for everybody and stuff. And yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you for listening to me ramble and stuff. And yeah.
So we did have one question from Praveen, and that is, what's the one course that you completed, Wyatt?
Oh man,
Maybe.
it's yeah, sorry, I had to leave because I didn't know how to like make you back the
Yeah,
so I just
it's a bit
left.
clunky. Sorry, everyone, but yeah.
Yeah, it's really embarrassing because it was a course on object-oriented programming, but like specifically with PHP.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, I think the only reason I completed that one is because my job was paying me to complete it at the time. So
Nice. Cool. And did anyone else have any question? Feel free to raise your hands, or like throw something in the chat. Um, Rick, you said the official docs.ether.io do execute all the code examples. It's harder to wrangle Stack Overflow, etc. Though. Um, Maybe I'll just ask you to unmute if there's a particular comments there.
Oh no, I was just making a point. Like Ethers does execute all code examples in the docs. That's all. That's all I had to say.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So if no one else has any questions.